On the 29th day in the month of May 1999, yeah, Nigeria started another journey, and it was more like a journey of uncertainty when we had loaded ourselves with the military government way back after the 60s or something around the 60s, and now some Nigerians were thinking, would we even go past the first, democratic year? But 25 years after, these Nigerians can indeed put their hands on their chest and say, we have been able to sustain this nascent democracy that so far has lasted for 25 years. I had joining me on set a grassroots politician, former big shot in the National Population Commission, a man that has traversed most cities in Nigeria. He is the immediate past commissioner for rural development. I have here with me a son from the Akpabio Nation, Honorable Edem Okogonefio. Good afternoon, and so good to have you join us.
Good afternoon, Consular. Good afternoon.
And I like to say it's been a while we hosted you on the show.
Yes.
And welcome back. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here again.
All right. Well, I'd like you to take us through the journey of our democracy from 1999 to what we celebrated sometime in the month of June, this month, June 12th. 2024. Let's look at 25 years of unbroken democracy in Nigeria. And how has it been like? What's the journey so far?
The journey has been good, has been bad, has been ugly. And then the three components are all wrapped up in one. But as a people, as a country, we have been very resilient. We have had a great amount of faith in democratic principles and democratic governance. We have shown that faith despite certain odds, certain point in time that one will have absolutely lost faith. Those little points in time that have caused us to see a great degree of coup d'etat within the sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay.
But as a country, we'll be able to weather this, and I think we can actually say that we can say congratulations to Nigerians, because the Nigerian people, the other Nigerian people, are the hero of democracy.
Okay.
But looking back the last 25 years, like I said earlier, it has been a bit beautiful, fine, ugly in some cases, But when you look at the trajectory from where we're coming from our independence, what we went through, the Civil War, from the Civil War, we now move on to a series of military governments, which has always been encapsulated in different forms of coup. Every change of government is always violent, as far as the military was concerned, always very violent. And we have actually gone through all that to 1999. Just when we had very little faith in 1999, that little faith that we had has started snowballing into something more positive, something that we can truly say in truth and indeed that we can hold on to, that there is hope for us as far as democratic governance is concerned.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to leadership, yeah, we've tried, but it's still an experiment, because we are still trying to find the face of the true Nigerian leader. We have tested a lot. We've seen their capability, their capacity, and I know that as we evolve, as a nation, as a people, we'll definitely get there in terms of leadership. So all I can tell Nigerians, particularly my people in Cross River, is that they should continue to hold on. Have a firm faith in a democratic governance.
Okay, now let's look at from 1960 till 1999. We have seen about three types of systems. We've seen the parliamentary system, we've had the military system, we also had the democratic, which we still enjoy now. Which of these would you think is most suitable for a nation like Nigeria? Now, bearing in mind that most of the times we had these military leaders taking over, they've always cited the issue of corruption. And we've also seen corruption in the last 25 years in the democratic setting. So in trying to analyze the three systems I mentioned earlier, parliamentary system of governance, military and democracy, which you think is really suitable for Nigeria?
Well, like 1960, we tested the cabinet of the parliamentary system of governance. It came with its own problems. The issue of the corruption was all ruled out in 1960. In fact, it was one of the core reasons, and nepotism was the core reason why the Kaduna and Ziogu coup came on board. And it was also the reason for the counter coup of General Yakubu Gowon. And we moved on to the military. But one of the beautiful things I tell people when it comes to democratic governance, you are dealing with a wider set of people. But when it comes to military, you are dealing with just very tiny cabal who take decisions on our behalf. I'll give you take an example of the Supreme Military Council. They were just people less than 30 who would take decisions on an entire population of over 200 million people. And those decisions are sometimes taken on our behalf without our consent, without our contribution. And this was one of the bad sides of military. So even when there was clear case of corruption, who do you want to hold? Because they are rather pointing a gun at you, taking a chokehold on our media, who is supposed to serve as a kind of watchdog, and they also have a chokehold on the judiciary. Who? They control the police, they control the military. So who are you going to complain to when you see a clear-cut issue of corruption and lack of transparency in dealing with the entire nation? We couldn't, but it transcended again to the presidential system of government. Yeah, as a nation that is so diverse, with multiple languages, multiple culture, I think the presidential system for me is good if we can actually manage it appropriately. Yeah, it may look expensive in terms of modus operandi, in terms of modes of operation. It may look so, but because of our diverse nature as a people, because of our diverse culture, I think presidential system is good because everybody is represented. The majority may have their way, but the minority will also have their say in this. So for me, the presidential system is beautiful. It's all accommodating, and I think for me, the other may differ, but for me, there are good reasons for me to say the presidential system for us as a country, given our socio-cultural formation. This one is a lot more better for us. But like we are raised the issue of corruption, like I said earlier, I think from 1960 to now, we have not ruled out corruption in our day-to-day activity. But that's also come down to weak institutions. Over time, because of military intervention, we've not been able to work on our institutions. We've not been able to work on our judiciary. We've not been able to work on the legislative institution. We've not been able to work on even the police and all other organs that were supposed to be strengthened to actually take charge of corruption. But I know that as we evolve, like I said, as we continue to migrate, move as people, we are seeing signs that, sometimes up, sometimes down, but we are seeing signs that there's a small trajectory that we are moving as a people in countering corruption.
Okay, now let's quickly look at regionalism. At some point where we had to, the entire nation, was fused into several regions. Do you think that actually promoted democracy as compared to the federal system of government we are seeing today?
Outside the southwest, can we really say that we have a true region? Because the south they have this common belief in one common progenitor, which is the Oduduwa. You understand? And generally, an Ijebu man will hear a typical Yoruba spoken by a Lagosian. An Ondo man will hear a typical Yoruba spoken by a Lagosian. And the Ijebu man, if you also pay your attention, you also listen to Ijesha. To an extent, you'll be able to pick and interpret this. So relatively, I can actually say they are the ones that look more cohesive. They are a bit more fortunate in terms of common progenitor, in terms of common culture and tradition and language. So they look more like a more solid region. Okay. But let us come to South, for example. There's a clear distinction outside Cross River and Akwa Ibom, for which we always, I remember during the conference, the constitutional conference, and I had the opportunity of speaking to the former minister Tebet, and he came up with the word that Okobusem Republic. You understand? Because for us, as Akwa Ibom, as Efe, we always call ourselves Okobusem, but that same Okobusem will also translate to those people in the north, for example. I mean, there's a lot of difference in language, difference in culture, even to the central. Outside, even where there are similarities, sometimes we tend to downplay it. I'll give you a classical example. If you look at the Efe, which are quite dominant in these 5 local governments of Bakassi, Akwa-Buyo, Kalabasa, Calabar Municipality, Udupani, and to a small extent, Biase. So if you look at us, we still turn around and look at our brothers, the Ejagam speaking, despite the similarity. I'll give you another example of this similarity. I'll give you an Ejagam man, there's this thing, Ekbe. They will call it Igbe. So you have Efekbe, you have Ochamangbe. They are all saying the same thing. We are all saying the same thing. The same Efekbe, the same thing they call Ochamangbe. And in the practice itself, it's almost similar. It's almost similar in the way they practice. For example, I've had the opportunity of going to Arsenal in Econ main town to understudy how Ngbe is played and also take a critical look at our own here. There are some similarities. Why the other people take it more as a religion? It has reduced relatively. We have really watered it down to more of culture and something that is more fanciful. But the other people still hold on dearly to it as a deep religion. I'll give you further example. I was fortunate to be at a place called Agidimpo, and two guys had a big bitter quarrel. They called in Reverend Father who said to listen for them, but the other one kept insisting that they must go into the Ochamangbe hall and they must beat what we call the Obodum. If they don't beat it, that he will not agree that the case was over. And they were compelled. They moved in there, and when after they came back, I was discussing with one of them. Why did you? He said whatever coach we take there is binding. I said, but the Reverend Father was saying, yes, we have taken that, but this one to us is more binding. So you see, it has become an issue that regulates their own existence. They regulate their belief system. You understand? And that was how it used to be with us before now. But my problem, like I said earlier, as if we look at the Ejagam man from Etun or the Ejagam man from Ikom, do we look at them as our brothers? Do we still not call them Atam? So when you talk of the issue of, I've just brought it from a Bible level to a place called Cross River. You can now look at the brother view. You understand? Even within Rivers and Bayelsa, most of us already think they are almost similar, but they are not different. The Bayelsans are typically job people, you understand, with a lot of cultural difference from Rivers. You find that there's this beautiful thing they do in Bayelsa, they call burial, they call it Yoroko. I mean, you can come to Ikwere here, you don't find similar things. And so sometimes you stay outside and think that Bayelsa and Rivers say they are the same people. They are not. There are a lot of distinction, there's a lot of cultural differences, a lot of language differences. Because the Okrikaman does not necessarily speak Ijaw. Because if I tell the Okrikaman Tubora, he may not be able to answer me at all. But then if I also tell the German is that the Okrikaman, he may not be able to answer. So there's a clear-cut difference. So when it comes to the issue of regionalism, like I said earlier, the Southwest, which is predominantly of the Oduduwa, and what some of them will tell me as Oduduwa Republic, are more favored than most of the other zones. The other people that are a bit more favored to would be probably the Southeast because of their own common language, not necessarily the same culture per se, because you see a clear-cut difference between the man in Ebonyi. Maybe the culture may be sometimes different from the man in Anambra, for example, and you see a similarity between the Anambra man and the Delta in terms of culture and language. You understand? So they are the next people that I'll say they are a lot more, maybe they can come together and form a region. The North Central, again, you can always see a clear-cut difference. Because when you look at some part of Kaduna, even Kaduna as a place, you have the Kaduna South and the Kaduna North, you find where the Gwaris or the Gwaris are more dominant, and you find where they call Hausa people, there's a distinction between the Hausa and the Hausa Fulani people. You understand? So you find where they call Hausa to also, they're also there. But if you don't run deep into them, you will know that there's a clear distinction, because for the Hausa, because all of them are wrapped in Islamic education, so you see that strictly, you see them with their common name, but when you look at their origin, there's a clear-cut difference between the Fulani and the Hausas. So these things also permit through certain political craft that may not necessarily make them be one. And you can also always see this in the election pattern. You can see that once you are able to establish that crack, and then you can always have your way politically. So in terms of regionalism, I can't say that we can have an holistic region, apart from the subject that I said earlier. So for me, regionalism as practiced in the 1960s was just, to me, was just what I call a bit of political gerrymandering, a bit of political fraud, because there were no similarity between. But what we have now, quite agree, for the purpose of regionalism we have now is for purpose of economic and political efficiency, not necessarily because we agree that we are one, but because we can come together and agree that, okay, for the purpose of re-engineering our economic system, re-engineering our economic benefit, then we can see how we can fuse together socially to achieve And so this current region is a bit more manageable. We know our differences, but we also know that we brings us together to form this region.
Okay, so this year, 2024, America is 235 years in terms of their democracy. As old as that, 235 years, practicing democracy. Now, one would say Nigeria is just 25 years, not even up to 1/10 of what America has achieved so far. Now, what would be your very, objective assessment of our current state of democracy in Nigeria?
I always tell people not to draw a comparison between America and Nigeria when it comes to democracy. They actually started a lot more longer before, but when you want to do a comparative analysis, I'll say that in terms of democratic belief, we can always match America, if not surpass them. Because those things that bring crack in America may not necessarily bring crack here. You understand? Those things that you see as fault line may not necessarily be a fault line here. Yeah, they are there. They have strong institutions. They have institutions that has evolved over time. They reinforce them over time. So they're able to intervene where you see this fault line, where this fault line is going to explode or erupt. We have institutions that can quickly intervene and quickly nip it in the bud. Yeah, our own institutions are still gradually being developed. Our electoral system is still evolving. But when you look at the rate at which we are evolving, it's a lot more better. Imagine the 2020 election. Trump still says that there was a lot of fraud. I mean, you can imagine America for that number of years, they still have fraud in their own electoral system. Then, let's talk alone. We call ourselves lesser mortals, lesser political mortals, democratic mortals. That anybody will say that Nigeria has we are not done well. We have done well. We are evolving as people, and there's always room for correction, room for expansion, room for greater transparency in our political system. So there's no base at all comparing America and Nigeria. For us, we are doing our own fair bit as people trying to manage our population of over 200 million in our own way. Yeah, the poverty level may be high. Yeah, the poverty level may be because of for me, I say that because of mixture of Western economic system, trying to understand the Western economic system, this our traditional way of coexisting. So there's that conflict, which is bringing about a lot of poverty in the land, outside the corruption that we spoke about. Even the way you look at corruption, it's not actually our culture here. I know that I've taken a walk around most states in this country. Corruption is not part of our culture, but corruption is an endemic part of the system that we are trying to practice. Let's take the case of the financial institutions. There's hardly any of our culture that say you borrow money for interest. We borrow money out as a community to help community live together without necessarily asking for interest. But the modern banking system, we always give out money for interest. And in the course of doing that, there's a lot of competition. When there's competition, there are bound to be unfair play. And unfair play always translates into corruption. So sometimes I tell people, okay, let me give you a small example. If you want to swear in a commissioner, for example, and you tell them, take the Bible, and they always swear by the Bible. Let me give an example. Doesn't just bring small thing like Okuna and say, okay, swear by the Okuna. Nobody would want to swear. Nobody wants to swear. And that is traditional to us. That was our own way of checking these things. But because of Western culture that I tend to envelop our own culture, makes it a bit more satanic. So the other one looks more superior to this one. But in reality, ours has always been used to check some of these ill things or ill issues that are happening within our society. So that is for me. So there's no basis for at all running comparison between.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's look at the leadership. In the last 25 years, we've seen in Nigeria, it's been this stage where one hands over the baton to the other, and there is no form of careful continuity, for sustainable development. How would you assess the leadership of in the last 25 years in our democracy?
Like I said earlier, we've not been able to have a clear-cut leader that has done something remarkable, something that generation to come will always talk about, something historical, something that we can archive. We've not been able to have that kind of leader because it also comes down from the training that we said that we talked about. You understand? There's no true patriotic Nigerian who swallows Nigeria, drink Nigeria, eat Nigeria like food. What we have are largely prebendal leaders who know that Nigeria as where they can take their own share and to fill up their tummy. Not necessarily, because sometimes I wonder, if you are a man of 60 years old, or you are a man of 65 years old, you are made a minister, you are made a commissioner, you are made and how much money do you think you really need before you leave this world? So it beat my imagination when I begin to see people of 60 years old, they said they are involved in corruption of 28 billion, 30 billion. What will you do with it? Yeah, at 60, you have limited time to live in this world. Are you going to leave those inheritance to your children, who you probably don't know how they are going to use it? Some will probably use to smoke shisha in club, go to a big time club, and then your name is already tarnished. So that is how we have been recycling leaders that are saying in truth and indeed they are not patriotic. But that is what democracy gives us, because democracy is a game of who has the highest number. So that's what they give us. But we continue to manage and continue to work on our leadership system, starting first from our home. But I always tell everybody, you say, oh, this man is corrupt, check his home now. And the man was from a home, he had a father, had a mother. What did they teach him? The man still have other social institutions like church, like mosque, and they go, what are they teaching him? So these are the areas that we need to look at in order to create a better leader. But ordinarily, like I said, it's still an issue of we continue to involve in terms of leadership. They are moving slowly. Gradually, by the grace of God, will give us in truth and indeed that leader that we can actually say that is patriotic, is a Nigerian in all ramifications.
Okay, because clear assessment there as regards leadership in the last 25 years, no clear-cut distinction for what the leadership, I've been able to put now. I want to find out, democracy goes beyond just voting. I believe that. Now, what role should citizens do to go beyond just voting? Because are we putting the whole blame on the leadership? How about the followers here, the citizens? What are they also doing? Does it just end at when INEC puts out a date for election, they all go out to vote? What happens thereafter to ensure they put leadership on their toes?
Yes, sir. I want to dissect your question into two ways. First, let's look at the followers. Sometimes I sympathize with the follower a great deal. I'll give you a small micro example. I want to contest as a councillor or as a House of Rep member, as a House of Assembly. I gather the people in the hot sun to tell them my program and manifesto, and the people who are there, they stay there in the hot sun to applaud and clap for me. When they come for election again, the same people will see step out. Some without food in their ragtime clothes come out and queue to vote for me. The people vote for me because of certain belief in me, that this man can get there and transform our life. And this one leads us to that political school of thought, that social contract. The social contract is the fact that I, as the ordinary follower, gives you my mandate. You, the demand that I give my mandate, in exchange, you provide certain things for me. But as all this one always it has not. On the part of the followers, they've always done their part to give that mandate. Whether people cloud it fraudulently or they come out of the sun, they come fight, sometimes fight, injure themselves just to give you that mandate. But once you take that mandate, you ascend that throne, what do you give back to the people? This is a big dilemma, this is a big question. Because, like I tell people, being made a governor, being made a House of Rep member, being made a president, it is not your money. We are merely sitting on our commonwealth, and the wealth of everybody. What I've simply done is to say, okay, please, or that, please go out there and help me manage my wealth. So when you begin to see it as your personal wealth, then that's where you get it all wrong. And unfortunately, because of the level of poverty, the ordinary followers, their hands has been tied. Because Hitler had an experiment, which I still think most of our leaders do. Hitler called all his men together, brought a chicken to the table. Remove all the feathers, and leave the chicken bare. And the chicken could barely fly, couldn't move. And when he throws the little corn pebble at the chicken will just stay there and pick it. This is what our leaders do to us. They impoverish us, they make us absolutely very poor, in such a way that we can't challenge them. So when they throw that pittance, that small peanut on us, that same our own money, when they throw the small part of it to us, we can only say, oh, we are loyal. we are this. In reality, who should be loyal? Is it me that I should be loyal to the governor, or the governor should be loyal to me? Is it me that should be loyal to the president, or the president should be loyal to me? Because you are taking a part of my wealth, our wealth, the commonwealth, to also take care of yourself as a president, take care of yourself as a governor. Who should be thankful to who? I mean, so as ordinary citizens, we need to know our rights. We need to know to what extent we need to express ourselves. But like I said earlier, the leaders, through bad economic policy, through so many other policies, deliberately impoverish us and makes us subservient, makes us constantly, in the name of being loyal, or constantly following them without being able to tell them, no sir, where you are going is wrong. So until we get to that level, so on the part of the followers, I find. But in the part of leaders, sometimes I pity, like I say, we have a very beautiful governor in the throne now. He's a man who, like I sent him a message sometimes, a man I've known since 2006. I know how His Excellency, the Senator, distinguished Senator Prince Bassio, I know how he lives, I know how he thinks. I know that he's more of a friendly man. He's a very friendly man. He's a man you can trust. Because we work together, I know that I can trust him. But in all fairness, people will say the box stops as his table. But he also has other lieutenants. And the lieutenants are sometimes my partner. I've also been a commissioner. I'll give you an example, sir. Once you are made a commissioner, you want to move to E3 to eat. You don't want to eat at the ordinary place where you used to eat again. Because you move to E3 to eat expensive food, you also want more money to sustain that lifestyle. Like I always tell people, you find a lot of our friends as politicians, you go to a club, you want to drink English, what do you call it, 21, at almost 500,000 naira. Do you know what 10,000 naira can do to 50 households on a weekend? That English that you are drinking. So you are simply plundering that our commonwealth because the man has called you to come and assist me. The man has called you as commissioner, has called you as the SA, has called you as, please come and assist me. So you are merely painting certain image before the ordinary people who sees you, before they see the governor, and because you become a reflection of how they, so people see the reflection of governor in you, and that's always wrong. So what do we have? You always come around to blame the governor, blame. Have you looked at the other sub-lieutenant or the other lieutenant? So the board does not just stop on the statement of the governor. The rest of us who are supposed to support the governor, what are we doing? What are we doing? Because we must also always leave our vote board. Yesterday, like I was in Ward 12 where I was giving certain speech on Democracy Day. Yesterday we were working together, eating and drinking pure water. Today you have made a commission, you have made whatever you want, and suddenly surround yourself with policemen. The policemen, what are you using the policemen for? To stop me from talking to you, or to stop the ordinary people from reaching you? Because they can't reach the governor easily. It's you they will reach. Are you using the people, the police, to stop the ordinary people from, for God's sake, like I used to tell people, if you are afraid of death, don't ever ask for a father's inheritance. Once you move into the public space, you must have people, the public must have access to it. That's why I call it public service. That's why I call it public position. You can't take our position as public and begin to block yourself from us, the public. That is wrong. It's morally wrong.
Absolutely. Okay, now let's quickly look at, because of time, my next guest has been in the studio itching to come on the set. Let's look at the last 25 years of our democracy. What do you think have been the challenges faced so far?
Well, the challenges are quite among us, numerous. The challenges of our evolution as people, because as we evolve from I remember the number of cars in Calabar, for example, 1999, and now it means that there's a trajectory, it's a good trajectory. So how we manage those good trajectory also has also become a huge challenge. The appetite of the people have changed natively. We have a lot of more fast food, more around. So there's a coloration, there's a change in coloration in the way we look in our social setting, in our social environment, for which we must also bring the political and economic situation to speak, to match with this. So the challenge is there. Like I said, challenge of evolution is there. But also, we must also look at challenge of understanding our role as politicians, as political leaders. It's also still there. There's a need for a lot. You see, we have a lot of people who have no business doing politics, finding themselves in politics. And it's because of them that people say that politics is dirty. Politics is not a dirty game at all. It's when dirty people play it that makes it dirty. If you look at the origin of politics, it's a game of noble. It's a game of the good-hearted people. But because, or maybe because of lack of employment, because of access to quick money, we now bring in people who purely have no business in doing. But I'll give you several examples. We have a lot of our people who are representing us, maybe as senators or House of Reps, who truly don't know us, who don't know us at all. And that is the truth. If you don't know me, how do you represent me? How are you going to speak for me? If you don't know where my shoe pinches, how are you going to speak for me? So these are the challenges that we need to deal with. Making sure that the people who have business in politics should come into politics and play. Those who have the human sympathy should come into politics and play. Not those who have no, we have quick businessmen who just want to make money, amass wealth, like I said, prepender politics, just cajole us, lie to us and whatever from, and what do you have? So we always continue to have conflict. I see there's no justification in this war where the 3 senators cannot work with the governor for the common purpose of lifting our people from the level we are to a higher level. But rather, what do you have? You have the senators looking at different directions. Leaving everything to go to meet an average senator and say, oh, go and meet the government, it's the governor. Who says that your own role, your own call? You're also there now, you're also playing a role. Why do you say we should always go and see the governor? Take care of your own senatorial district, take care of your own constituency, take care of your own House of Assembly, constituency, take care of your own role, do your own role. Then the governor will have very little. His own will be supportive. But we have people who are merely taking from us and they don't give back to us. Sometimes it's painful. It's very painful because I can always talk about my own personal experience. You find out that more often in time we don't ask anybody for anything when we want to work for you as a leader. But when we put you there, the next thing we push the ladder. Those of us that push the ladder away, it's become painful. Some have taken big risks, but once you get there, you don't come again, and you begin to deceive the people through small, what I call very minor in-holiday programs. You understand what I'm saying? You could have a street light facilitated by. That's absolute nonsense. It's something we should take for granted. If you don't give us that street light, are you going to keep it and where is this?
Okay, so let me do a wrap on this. Now, 25 years on, what next?
Like I said, it's a matter of keeping the faith alive, strengthening our belief in democratic system. It's also the leaders knowing that we can still have answers. We have to be honest with ourselves. The economic situation we find ourselves today is not just normal. It's not just okay. And until we come to terms with that, it may not be. But I'm sorry, I'll take a small portion last time. Small lazy time before. The last admission, we had what they call food on the table. And I hear people within the cabinet say, no, we can't do food on the table again. And I was going through Immanuel Kant's economic philosophy. And where there's depression, inflationary trend within the economy always bring about depression of the economy. It's two things working together. Because once there is inflation, therefore means that your money cannot capture, so you cannot buy so many things. So you bring when your money can buy, the factories that are producing, nobody can buy, there's a depression. And when there's going to Kant, Immanuel Kant, the Kantian philosophy, where there is such a depression, the government has to take it as a morality to spend ourselves out of that depression. And how do you spend? You need to put money back into the hands of the people. Maybe in a more moderate way, maybe different from what we did before, but there must be a situation where we have to put more money into the hands of people so that the people can actually buy into the economy and inflate the economy and make the economy normal again. So I hear people within their business say, no, we can't go back. That was nonsense. It wasn't nonsense. I'll give you an example. Yeah, this week I'm doing something around Atikum, a small survey of my own, and I interview some people, and they tell, during that IRD period, when people come here and buy this, and I've also spoken to some few beneficiaries of the food on the table. When there was one of them used to give us a lot, my wife would cook to the house. Yeah? Because the wife goes to the market to buy pepper, buy gari, buy that. The woman who sells this into the house will go back and pay children's school. We are inflating the economy. So for me, like I said earlier, we are evolving. We must always look at beautiful things that we have done, see how we can polish it up and make it more beautiful. Thank you very much.
It's been a great time talking with Honorable Edem Okokwe-Nefio, immediate past commissioner in our state. I was really thank you for finding time, even at a very short notice, to join us. We've had a great drive through the last 25 years of our nascent democracy. Weekend Politics returns shortly, and next we meet in the next few minutes. We would be having the State Secretary of the All Progressives Congress as we walk us through the zonal meeting that was held here last Sunday. Stay with us, don't go anywhere.